as a child. And I went to international schools where if I ran into another American, because you see, Americans were the minority, right? And so if I ran into another American, whether yellow, black, or white, green, blue, green, brown, red, pick a color, I don't care. If I ran into another American, I was happy to be around another American. So that's how I was kind of raised. My people, if you want to look at it that way, did not get here to America until after the 1900s. Well, after slavery was come and gone from this country, well, after the Civil War was over, that's when my people came to this country. And so I am not a racist at all. I am biased, right? If I see, and I do see occasionally, some dude with a wife beater on and some really baggy shorts hanging down around his hiney with his underwear hanging out, a pair of Jordans on. He's got this flat brim hat, turned to the side, and he's like, yo, 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 walking like that. I get a little, I pay attention to what that person's doing. Oh, did you think I was talking about a black guy? Because I'm not. I'm talking about white guys. Yeah, I'm biased against people who look like thugs, no matter what color they are. Oh, yeah. But, hey, everyone's got inherent biases, right? We deal with those. When I and my wife and family joined, if you will, the survivalist movement. We'd been survivalist preppers, pick your term, since we were kids. But when we decided to join with other people before Y2K, the first event we went to, the internet was new, right? And my wife's like, we shouldn't go. What if it's like, bad people or something? I said, sweetie, if it's bad people, we'll leave. And she said, well, what if they won't let us leave? I'm like, please. Here's something. I like what Samuel Jackson says. Please, Negro. Right? Oh, that makes you a racist. No, it doesn't. But I said, please, who's going to stop us if we want to go? So we go to this event really not knowing what to expect. We'd never been to an event like that. And we get there, and the first two other people who come, because we were first, the first two other people who came were these two big dudes from Tennessee, right? And they talk like this. They had southern accents. They were big. They were loud. They were bold. And the first thing they did when they parked their car was hang up the Confederate, battle flag, right? The flag of Northern Virginia. And went, woo-hoo! Like that. And I was like, oh, Lord. Right? And my wife's like, I don't like this, because you see, in my mindset, I associated, because the only thing I had seen was media, I associated that flag with racism. And I'm really thinking, what are they going to do next? Put up a cross and burn it? Get out the white sheets? Right? This is what I was thinking. And so I realize that there are people out there, probably some of you, who associate that flag with that, right? It's racism, it's evil, it's people who want to do harm, white people who want to do harm to black people, right? Because I used to think that. Used to is a very key word. There is a whole move in the South, granted primarily of white people, but hey, we have different cultures. If you want to, spin big discs, we've got black culture, white culture. We have urban black culture, urban white culture, LA culture, right? I mean, we have different cultural sets. And there is a set in the South, primarily white, who view that flag with absolutely no racist intent. They have no desire to go hurt black people. It is more of a Southern pride thing. If you think of a Texan, many Texans are proud to be Texans. I would submit they're more proud to be Texans than Americans, right? And you see a lot of people from Texas, if you go into their homes, they're decorated with Texas stuff. Little cutouts of Texas painted like the Texas flag. There's Texas flags hanging everywhere, the star. Yeah, they're proud to be Texans, right? Well, by the same notion, there's a lot of people in the South who are proud to be from the South. And the way they identify with that, in many cases, is with, the Confederate battle flag. It's not technically the stars and bars. I used to call it that, but I learned some stuff. A really good book to read is called Confederate in the Attic. And it was written by, I think, a New York Times reporter who was actually living in the Shenandoah Valley somewhere in Virginia, and he ran in to these people who were into Southern pride, and to him, because he was basically a New Yorker transplanted, right? He's like, what is this? And he delves into the Southern white culture, and there's a lot of insights in that book, and you may wish to read it. But I'm telling you, a lot of people, they don't look at it that way. Now, you know what? I own one of those flags. I used to fly it. You know what it means to me? What it means to me is states' rights, number one, the federal government not coming down and telling states what to do. And it's kind of like those yellow flags with the rattlesnake, don't tread on me. It's kind of an in-your-face, leave me alone. It's not an in-your-face to black people. It's an in-your-face to anybody who's politically sensitive. Ooh, that offends me. Okay, you know what? You don't have a right not to be offended. You don't. I'm sure people do things that offend me. It's America. It's supposed to be America. We're supposed to have freedom of expression. We're supposed to be able to state opinions that are counter to what the majority has, right? And so this flag is not racist. Do racists use this flag? Absolutely. You know, does the KKK fly that flag at their rallies? Yes, they do. But you know what? There's a whole bunch of other people who fly it, more people who fly it, who aren't racist, right? And who don't mean anything. They don't even think about black people when they fly that flag. It's not why they do it, right? States' rights, leave me alone, Southern pride, heritage, not hate. Yeah, you know, whatever. Hey, take it for what it's worth, but that's the truth. I remember my company, Viking Preparedness, used to have for our logo an algies. It's a Viking rune that means protection, preparedness, things like that. And basically, it looks like a Y, you know, a capital Y with the point going up in the middle too. So kind of like a 3 thing with a stem on it. And that's what it meant in Viking runes, right? Oh, I got so much garbage from Christians about that. They're like, that's a broken cross. Okay, no, it's not, because the rune, there's a couple reasons. The rune predates the cross, okay, by a long time. And so it can't be a broken cross. And number 2, Yeshua, Jesus, he wasn't, you know, hung up on a cross like that. He was impaled on a pole. Another teaching for another time. So it's not a broken cross. A lot of people said, Satanists use those runes. Okay. So did Vikings. You know, Vikings used the runes. My company's called Viking Preparedness. It's the rune for preparedness. Ergo, you know, I used it. I'm sure aliens may use the rune on their spaceship. It's not what it means to me. And so I kept using it. And, you know, oh, people, you know, emotional people. It got to be a stumbling block, right? And so I took it down and I replaced it with 3 lightning bolts. You know what I heard after that? That's the SS from the Nazis. Dun, 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 dun. No, it's not. If you look at the 3 lightning bolts in our logo, they are an exact copy of the Special Forces patch, right? It's the same lightning bolts. I copied them. And so, you know, people, they just want to be offended. People want to have umbrage at others. You know, you offended me. What you're doing offends me. Well, you know what? You telling me that offends me. So that's the thing on the flag. Now let's talk about racism in America. You want to talk about racism in America? Let's talk about the racism of abortion. You know, we get all upset. Granted, it was a bad thing. I'm not taking anything from that. That some little skinny white punk loser on drugs goes in and shoots 9 people in a church who are black. And you know what? I believe he shot them because they were black. All right, I believe he was a racist. I'm not taking that from there. But we get all upset about that. But since that kid shot those 9 people in church, since that white kid shot those 9 black people in church, how many blacks have been killed in Chicago, in Detroit, in St. Louis by blacks? Where's the outrage over that? Where's the outrage of the abortions that are happening with blacks? You know how many black babies are killed in this country? Oh, there's a lot of white babies too, but we're getting upset about, white against black stuff, right? Because they're pulling your strings. They're trying to create a problem. But where's our outrage on that? Do you know the first abortion clinics were put in primarily black sections of town so that black women would abort their babies, kill their babies, so we don't have so many of those black people around here? Oh yeah, and abortion is a horrible thing. Where is the outcry from the black leadership who aren't doing blacks in America? And yeah, I use terms white, black. I don't really use yellow or red. I don't know why. Meh, whatever. Where's the leadership, the black leadership, talking about family issues in black society, if you will? Much of black society, urban black society, where there's no fathers. And so these kids grow up on the street and they have no role models and they think it's cool to be a loser and not do anything and do drugs and do mostly petty crimes, but occasionally, bad crimes. Join a gang so you get a daddy figure. Where's the outrage over that? Because that's what's wrong with society. It ain't whitey against blackie. That's not what's wrong with our society. Our society is the breakdown of the family unit, the turning away from God. That's what the problem with our society is. The Reverend Al Sharpton, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. How come they're not talking about Jesus? Oh no, they're just talking about the inherent racism in the system and, we need reparations. Give me a break. Are you kidding me? People, pull your head out, have a look around, figure out what the real issues are. This society is devolving, and the powers that be are trying to stir up a race war. Whenever you use terms like, that white Edomite, whatever, now I've seen that with relation to that kid, just the same as people, use terms for black people, which I just refuse to use, that are derogatory, right? That's bad, and that's just fueling emotion. Look at the real issues. We are people. Do you know that I can make an excellent case that the Hebrews, the original Hebrews, the original Israelites were black? I can make it from the Bible. Now, a lot of you out there are going, oh. I can also make an excellent case that the Hebrews and the Israelites were white from the Bible. And I can make a pretty good case historically that the Hebrews and the Israelites were brown. Why don't I get on that train? Because I don't see it as important. Now I know I just pushed a lot of y'all's buttons. I don't care what color the Israelites were. I don't. You know what? It doesn't matter. A mixed multitude came out of Egypt. A mixed multitude who was then Israel. And then if you read in Romans 11 about the tree that is Israel, into which branches were broken off because of their unbelief. Who were those branches? Jews who didn't accept Jesus as Messiah, to put it in terms of the world, right? They're broken off this tree of Israel. Who are those Jews? Hebrew Israelites, right? Yah's chosen people. Other branches were grafted in. Who are those people? Christians will say, it's us, it's Christians. I submit to you, it's deeper than that, and it's talking about races, right? Other races are grafted in, so they're now in that tree, that is Israel. So whoever the original people were, many of them were broken off. Whoever the original people were, people who aren't them were grafted in. Race doesn't matter, people. It's a divisive thing. It's of the adversary. It's of Satan, the devil. Y'all got to quit focusing on skin color. You got to quit focusing on the melanin content in your body and start focusing on Him. Focus on Christ. Focus on what He did for mankind. Focus on the love of man. You got to have the love for your fellow man. Now, that doesn't mean do something stupid. Pastor Joe ain't walking through East St. Louis this morning at 1 o'clock, tomorrow morning at 1 o'clock in the morning. Hey guys, hey fellas, what's up? Right? That would not go well for me. So I'm not talking about that, but I am talking about you need to express the love for your fellow man. And the more we all start turning away racist comments, the more we all quit focusing on skin color and focus on the real issues, the better off we're going to be as a country. Now, I said recently that, the Father has foreseen the ending from the beginning, and this is all on a path